One of the things that definitely needs to always be checked, especially on a boat that's using its battery supply quite a bit, is to check the water in the lead acid batteries, assuming you have lead acid batteries. So we have on board the Run, we've got 4 6-volt golf cart batteries. We also have a separate 24 size 12-volt battery. So, and that one is just for starting. So, but I'm going to check the water and all the batteries today, make sure everything looks good.
As you can see, we've got all the batteries are down underneath the starboard settee. There's 4 6-volts, kind of all piled in, pretty tight, but I made it fit just right. So, check the water we'll be taking off these top caps here, and then looking to make sure that the water level is satisfactory. So we'll take a look, and I'm assuming they should be okay, but you always want to make sure. These batteries are about a year old now. So I've got these straps going over the top of them. I also have each battery in a separate container. Some boats and boat manufacturers, they have the batteries are just basically in a separate well, and that's all fine and dandy, but I've kind of come across the experience that a lot of times these batteries, when they're sitting in these wells, they still have a tendency to leak acid, and even acid could do a number to fiberglass and any wood that it can make its way into, any sort of core underneath the fiberglass. So I always like to have batteries in a plastic separate container. They're cheap, they do a good job, so one less thing you got to worry about. Now, unfortunately, my last battery I have squeezed back here in the back pretty far, so I'll have this light to be able to check it out. If I do ever need to get these batteries out, I can halfway easily, but it's definitely a lot easier if I can get by without having to do that. The way I have these set up, I can just loosen up the straps just a bit so that I can get the caps off. These caps are nice. You don't need a screwdriver to get the tops off like some batteries. These have a nice little twist mechanism. You twist and it pulls the cap right off. And so I like to, if I can help it, I like to shut all load off to the batteries whatsoever. So I'm just shutting off all my mains and everything. And that way I know there's no load going to it. I do have a way to separate the battery banks, so I can shut off one bank and still be able to work on the other bank. But that way I can just do them all together all at the same time. I don't have to worry about shutting one side off and turning the other side back on and vice versa. So. And right now they actually look pretty good. I'm probably going to add just a little bit of distilled water to the batteries, though, just to be better safe than sorry. A little has boiled off in the past year, not much, but that way I know what I've got. Another good idea also for batteries is to first of all, always watch your eyes and everything. You don't want that acid getting in your eyes. But if you have, especially the type that you have to pop off with a screwdriver, you always want to be careful for that flashback of the acid. But also when you're pulling these off, you want to make sure you don't get any grime or anything that's ended up on top of the battery. So it's not a bad idea to clean off those batteries with rag or towel or something. Just keep in mind you don't really want to use that rag for anything else, because you don't want that acid getting on anything else you might use that rag on. So I'm going to get some of my distilled water and a turkey baster and fill these things up. Great value. Really is great. my cover over my battery terminals. Keep everything all cleaned up, and there we go. We're all done. Make sure the caps are still on tight. Make sure there's no battery acid kind of rolling around or leaking anywhere. Should be good. Strap them back down, and away we go sailing. Another brewski. And we can do the more important things like turn the stereo back on.